see on the other side tonight?
Yeah, they're obviously playing real well, strong in all areas of the game. Obviously, special teams has been a catalyst for them, goaltending, and obviously have some real elite players that can do some damage. So we just have to be really strong in all three zones, defending the middle of the ice really well and trying to control that area of the game.
These games with the Jets, they've been, I guess, heated, I guess you'd call it. What are you expecting in that regard tonight?
Yeah, I'm not sure. You know why? Maybe it's just all those games from the Canadian division there we had a couple of years ago, seeing a lot of the same players and over again. The atmosphere always seems to be really good in the building. Obviously a rare matchup, but I think just two really good teams going at it. A lot of fun to go out there and compete. So, playing hard, trying to earn 2 points. So, yeah, can't speak to anything in particular, but they've had some good intensity and been fun to play in.
Is it your sense that the other Canadian teams in particular get geared up for this game to beat Toronto?
Possibly. I think, there's obviously a lot of guys around the league from the GTA or Ontario that probably excited to come home and wanting to play well. From the other standpoint, I can't speak to it. I think, for us, you just try to expect every team's best every night and go out there and execute the way we need to play to get the result that we want and how we have to play in our identity and, the standard and level that we have to be at and we expect of ourselves. So, obviously, teams that come through here, there's a lot of guys that from the GTA or from Ontario that obviously want to come in and play well.
From a physical standpoint, John, do you feel like teams sticking up for one another a little bit more than maybe a couple of years ago when you first arrived here?
I think the team has always had each other's back and good camaraderie that way. And I think maybe the evolution of the group and the type of players that maybe management's kind of, brought in that have rounded out some areas like that really well. And I think we understand the importance of that, of the team unity and our ability to be physical and push back and just play the game hard and defend our net and defend each other really well.
Rielly makes that play at the end of a pretty long shift, at the end of a pretty long game. What stands out about his kind of tank, his engine?
Yeah, we were joking about it after the game the other night and how he's just directing traffic on defense and just seems to buy him a few extra miles in the tank. So, but it's worked out pretty well a few times this year. So, he's just continues to grow and I think enjoys that opportunity of getting the puck on his stick and being a difference maker and a chance to finish the game off like he did.
Who got the belt last game?
Simpson.
Yeah. What do you make of how he performed coming in?
Extremely well. Very impressive. I obviously can't speak to it, but I can't imagine just sitting there, really all day. You're not really mentally as engaged or as prepared like if you're in the lineup. So, and then to just sit there for a couple hours and obviously cold and having to come in and obviously play a very vital position. He was sharp and great, made some big saves and, really helped us get our game going. So, it was a big part of our result the other night.
John, both you guys and the Jets have battled injuries in some stretches this year. And despite that, have had a lot of success. What's allowed you or your team to continue to do so?
Well, I think every team goes through it at some point. Some teams probably more so than others. But I think it shows the depth, and I think it also just shows the team identity and the standard that's brought within the locker room and what we expect ourselves on a daily basis, no matter who's in the lineup. And obviously the belief we have with guys that get more opportunity and obviously guys that have come up and played good, important minutes, important roles and have fit right into, like I said, the team structure, the team identity and what our standard is of what we have to go out there and compete and play and be difficult to play against. So. We've had our most success when we've defended really well, checked and been, hard to break through that way, and that sets everyone up for success and obviously ultimately the team.
It's much of the same group as last year at Winnipeg. I'm wondering, I don't know how much film you've seen on the purpose of your own observations. You took your finger
Pardon? Sorry?
It's much of the same group in Winnipeg last year compared to this year, but the results are really good. I'm wondering if you film or any of your own observations as you see any differences.
Well, their special teams has obviously been really, really good and can be difference makers in a lot of games. They've got their game really connected in all three zones. Obviously, they've had some change behind the bench, and whatever that's brought to them is obviously, I think, just built some confidence, and they're playing well and believing in what they're doing. So, haven't seen really too much of them throughout the year. Obviously, just tidbits here and there, but no question their top guys are rolling pretty good, and obviously catalysts for them as well.
Offense, and when he gets rolling, when you give him time and space to gain speed, he can be very dangerous.
I think at Winnipeg, one thing this year versus last year, a lot of consistency from the top end guys. We've seen with this team the success we have when the top end guys are rolling. How important it is to have those guys consistent.
Yeah, it's obviously very important. I think with our group, we got great leadership amongst our best players, and Mitch, Austin, Willie, and Johnny, and what they bring to our group every night on the ice and how they perform, and the time that they put in during off days to prepare for games, and when they're playing well, it's a real boost of confidence to our group. It's really no difference. I think if you check the standings, the teams at the top, they're being led by some high-end players, and oftentimes that's what it takes.
That confidence level, does that trickle down to whether it be the bottom
Yeah.
six? Just a good feeling overall.
I think so. I think it just gives you a good feeling, like you said, when your best guys are putting in the time and work to be prepared to play, and they're doing their job and they're executing. The expectation is that it's going to have that trickle down effect, and all the other guys in all their other roles have to match that intensity, match that execution and performance.
Morgan Williams scores a really nice goal at the end of a long shift, at the end of a long game the other night. What stands out about his engine, his reserve team?
Yeah. He's a great athlete and a great player, and he's having a great season for us. So he's had moments like that over the course of the season where he can just blow past guys, and he's always had that ability. And when he does that for our team, it's obviously a huge lift.
Morgan, fans get excited for a game like this, and you guys obviously had some heated matchups against the Jets. As a player, do you get excited for certain games more, or do they all kind of?
Yeah, there's always a different feeling when you're playing a team that's kind of at the top of the standings. I know they're high up in the Western Conference, and I think if you look back at our recent history with these guys, there's been some pretty competitive nights, and I don't think it changes a lot in the grand scheme of things, but it's definitely a night where we want to be ready. We want to prove that. This was a really good team, but our group believes in ourselves too, and our team. So we have to go out there and match their intensity and play well, and be prepared.
Sheldon, what stands out to you about the Jets since your last season, I guess, a while ago?
Well, I think there's a few things. I think their special teams and goaltending have been really strong for them, and that gives you a chance to win every game. And with that, I think you just get greater confidence in your team and your team play, and you get positivity around your team. Obviously, Rick has really done a good job there, and their team is believing it. They've always had really good and very dangerous players. They're having really good years. So they got a lot of things going their way here for them. So it's a lot to contend with tonight.
These games against the Jets tend to be feisty. What do you think that does to your group? What sort of impact do you think it has when you know that going into a game?
I think it's just, makes... I think a lot of it is, as we talked about the last time we played these guys, comes through, the Canadian division, playing them as often as we did. So whenever that happens, I think you just tend to be that much more alert, that much more aware, that much more respect for your opponent, all those kind of things when you see them that much, see them that often. And I think we've been playing a number of games like that recently, whether it's Boston the other night, even, a divisional opponent like Florida, in what they bring. So to that end, I think our players are getting comfortable in these spots, and it's fitting that we've been through them and expect more of the same tonight.
In terms of sticking up for one another, have you seen growth since you first started coaching this team?
I don't know if I could say that. I think some of the dynamics of some of our players have changed. I don't. It's not the kind of thing I think a lot about, but all I would say is that I've been really happy with how we've addressed any of those situations that have come up during the season at different points, most recently just the other night, but all throughout the season when a situation has come up, I've really liked our response.
Why did Pontus get sent down?
A combination of things. Obviously, it's really just to kind of get himself back. He went, I think it was 4 or 5 days in a row without skating here, and Marlies had a game last night, and it was a chance for him to play when it was an off day for us. He wasn't going to get much productively done in terms of practicing or playing for us. So it was really just an opportunity for him to get some time in. He'll be back with us here soon.
What goes into determining your goaltender, given how last game played out?
Well, I think in the case like this, the decision's quite easy. Sammy came in, did a terrific job for us, and Murr has coming off playing 2 in a row, and this was an easy one.
How do you like how Timothy mixed in with Morgan in the last game? What do you expect?
Yeah, I thought they did a good job. I think more importantly, I think just Morgan himself he looked more like himself. He looked really confident in his skating, defended well, was involved in the offense, made a great read, first of all, to get in position and then make a great play under pressure to get us the first goal. So that was what it was about to me. Lily's been very consistent no matter who we've had him with all season, and it was no surprise that he continued with that.
Sheldon, can you speak a little bit more to the depth as a whole on the defensive side and how they've really stepped up in a big way as a whole this year with all the injuries?
Yeah, it's been great. Obviously, we're not even anywhere close to where we are in the standings without that depth and without how guys have responded. Not just those that have come in and played, but on defense, but how our whole team has responded and allowed, whether it's inexperienced players, coming up from the Marlies, it's allowed them time to grow and gain confidence at the NHL level. Or veteran guys like, say Ben as an example, that comes into our lineup when we need them. Those guys can step right in, and the team game has been really solid. So yeah, how we've handled that as a team has been terrific. And of course, a lot of the responsibility does fall on the individual players, and those guys have responded very well.
What stands out to you with the coach on the other side? He's been in and out of the league for the last 40 years, Rick. Just what stands out about his career to you?
Yeah, I've never worked with him, but I think what stands out is just his personality and character. You never hear a bad word said about Rick Bowness, and whether that's players or people that work with him. So that tends to give you a lot of longevity in the league. He's served a lot of different coaching staffs, and he's different roles, and he's given a lot to the game that way, and it seems to be coming back around for him here, which is nice to see.